Jail saved my life because I reached my lowest point in life. My lowest point in life where I needed to reach. I needed to reach because I needed to look at myself in the mirror and understand that I was the problem. Like I was the piece of shit. But I've always made excuses. Like when I was still in the streets and doing all of this and doing all that, and you know what I'm saying, being this and being that and being the bad dad and being all of that. I always made excuses for it because it never wanted to be me. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I had to reach that point where I was like, I had to look myself in the mirror and face it. Like, you are the problem. Because until I realized that I was the problem, I couldn't change.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's the word, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today, man, we got a special guest in here. He's not only a special guest because he really came from nothing to something. Like, you're a real hustler, bro. Man, we got a very special event coming later on in March, man. I'm excited for that. Owner and executive chef of Dope Drip Cafe, man, the innovator of the Tamafongo,
Phone, you know what?
host of the Dope Talk podcast. Man, introduce yourself, bro.
Man, my name is David Silva. Some people call me Mancha. I'm just Chicago born, Humble Park raised, and just went through a lot of things in my life. But I'm the executive chef now and owner of Dope Drip Cafe, one of the owners of Dope Drip Cafe, and I'm also owner of Dope Talk, host also.
Where does the nickname Mancha come from?
Vitiligo, bro. I got vitiligo, man. I got vitiligo.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, mancha means spot.
Oh,
In Spanish, mancha. You got a spot, you got mancha. So it was just like that's what that meant. And it was just like I picked that up in high school. I went to Steinmetz, and it was me and my buddy, Junito, and he had spots and I had spots. So he had like darker spots. I had like white spots. So it was just like we actually made it into like we was clowning around, just honestly, just being young kids and it's especially like me is like young kids we used to talk about each other. That's what made me funny because it was just like I had to defend myself. But I called myself Almighty Mancha and it went from there.
even your mom references you that.
Yeah,
too,
my mom. It
because
took my mom a little bit, but it's so many people know me that they be like, "Hey, yeah, Mancha." My mom's
she came up to me at the event, the opening, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm Mancha's mom. I'm like,
Yep.
at that point, I didn't know you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who? And then Ozone's like, oh, that was the owner's mom. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense.
right, yeah. That's Mancha's mom.
But like when you're Hispanic, like you see an old lady and you just give them a
Respectful.
hug,
Hey, how
and
you
you just
doing?
give them a hug, say hi,
Como
and
estamos?
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
That's my mom's my heart. That's my heart. But yeah, my mom. She just like she kind of like just stuck to it because it was just like so many people like when they were talking about me with Mancha, and she was just like because she wouldn't call me Mancha until like maybe a couple years ago.
How was it she handled everything that you went through in life, right? Because there's a lot there. And a mother's love is one like no other. But there are points where like they know they gotta set you in the right direction.
I'm fortunate and grateful to God and my mom because it was just like when the world see me as a fucked up. I see myself as a fucked up individual. You know what I'm saying? Is my mom still seen me as a little boy? And it was like that's genuine love and my mom. That's the reason why I go so hard for my mom. Like I make sure my mom's straight. She's everybody that knows me like legit knows how to take care of my mom. Like I make sure my mom's straight just because I know of all the things that I put my mom through. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a repayment. Like that's how. But man, it took a lot for my mom, especially after my dad passed away. Like my mom was everything, and then it was just like I became the man that I was already gone, but I became the man that that the leading man role of the house and just my mom seen me go through like my really bad times. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a blessing, and I thank God that I was able to at least one of my parents, because I wish my dad was here for me to be able to show him, what they raised me to, because I was not. I wasn't a good person, so it's just like what was really inside of me, what the morals and the character that they gave me as a young man to make me the man that I am today. So
How much of the loss of your father had pushed you at that point? How far in were you? Were you already making the change?
I was already in the streets since I was young. I was in the streets like maybe I want to say like 15 and 14, 15. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I was doing some little stuff here and there, but I wasn't like really deep into this thing. But then like when I was like 15, 16, I was dipping and dabbing. But the thing was like having my dad there was like the structure. The don't go over the edge. You know what I'm saying? So when I lost my pops, it was just like, because I mean, at the end of the day, like I can't sit here and blame my parents. Like I came from a good set of parents. Like, we weren't rich, but my dad made sure we was cool. My mom didn't work. My mom was good. My dad never gang banged. My dad didn't drug deal. My dad was a hard worker man. So I mean, I chose the streets. I chose them myself. I can't blame nobody. But he was I always had that. Even how grown, left the house, I was still, I was living on my own, but I still held that respect for my old man. So it's just like, mind you, we lived in the hood, so it's like I knew my dad was always there, you know, watching somehow. You know what I'm saying? He always catch me and shit. So I would never like really like go overboard. But when my dad passed away, it was just like that kind of brought me over the edge. It brought me over the edge where it was just like I I didn't really care too much. Like, because at the end of the day, it was like the life that I was living, and it was like I didn't think that I was gonna make it past like 24, 25. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see a long lasting for me. I just knew I was gonna probably be dead or locked up for the rest of my life, to be honest with you. And it's sad to say, but it was just I was comfortable with that.
How do you even become comfortable with an idea of life looking like that, though?
Living the way you live. Like, honestly, just becoming a product of your environment. Like, just knowing, seeing, like I said, I grew up in Humble Park, and it was just we used to look up to the hustlers and the drug dealers. That's what we looked up for. You know what I'm saying? Looked up to. So it's just like just being a shorty and a kid. Like, they didn't last too long. You know what I'm saying? They didn't last too long in the streets. They didn't last too long. It was either dead or in jail. So I mean, that's what we knew what it was.
We're gonna touch on that a little bit more, but I want to do is bring it back to the business real quick, right? Why was it so important for you to bring this business back to the place you came from, Humble Park? Because you had a spot in downtown Chicago.
And it was, if not the first Puerto Rican restaurant in the heart of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So it was a big deal. But it was even a bigger deal to bring it back to the community, just because, man, I'm very humble, and just, now I take that from my dad, because he's always shown me that no matter what you got, is you know you know where you came from. And it was just like jail also humbled me. So it was just knowing that I came from the community, and it was just like I was able to get a lot of opportunities, but a lot of opportunities where I couldn't really bring them back to my community if I wasn't, establishing my community. So that was one of the biggest idea. Well, one of the biggest hurdles to go that way. And just I wanted to, and just to be real with you, like, as far as like, it takes you a little bit to build your confidence as a cook, as a chef, as a businessman. And it was just like, I was man, Puerto Ricans are very, they critique the hell out of you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I was scared to come back, to be honest with you. Like, I was just like, man, I'm gonna go back, and you don't make no money because people. So it was just like, it was almost a something like, let me just bring it back. Let me just move with my heart, and that's what God was calling me to. And it just, I prayed on it a lot, and I when the opportunity came across, like, I kind of shied away from the opportunity just for different reasons, but I prayed on it, and it was just like I asked God that if this was for me, like, just make it easy for me, and He made it easy for me. Not now, I wouldn't say necessarily easy, but He made it where it just fell right into place. So I knew that's where I needed to be at. So as me being there, then I had two locations, and it was cool to have the two locations. But it's just knowing that I wasn't giving my all to where I wanted to be at. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big stronghold of, man, look, you need to know what you want and focus in and zone in on it.
Where was it you wanted to be?
I just wanted to be back in my community. I wanted to bring all the resources that I'm blessed to be able to get. And because some people just I've had, by the grace of God, God doesn't put the right people in the right places for me. and I've had a lot of resources. So I just wanted to bring that back to my community. Just not because for me it's because I look back on a lot of it, and I just remember myself being in that community, and and looking up to, like I said, looking up to the drug dealers and looking up to the hustlers, because that's all we had in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So just that was a big part of me. Let me go back to the neighborhood and show these kids, like, man, you ain't gotta go that route. You ain't gotta go that route. And we can make it. You can make it and be something for the community. So just trying to be, just trying to be a leader and an example.
And you do that right because immediately after opening up, you have the Caleb Williams coming through and doing the turkey giveaway.
By the grace of God, man, we actually had the turkey bowl first, Steve's turkey bowl, and I've been blessed to just be in have a great relationship with Steve, so that, you know what I'm saying, I got some of the resources, so it was that, and then I was blessed to be able to bring back Caleb Williams on one of
The fucking Chicago
right after
Bears
one of-
quarterback after he fucking throws
right
a
after he wins the first Green Bay game, man, the first Green Bay game. So I
Second
was
one,
blessed, and
second
I was fortunate, and honestly, it was just like, I feel like, man, it was all by God's grace. Like, I had nothing to do with that. Like, it was just things fell in my lap, and I move accordingly with how the Spirit is pushing me to. So, but that was all by God's grace. But I was fortunate enough to bring him there, and it was just like, seeing a lot of little kids coming in there, and just a couple days ago, my boy called me, and he was like, man, dude, the little kid that got his jersey signed was his mom was calling him, telling him, thanking him, and he was like, no, I don't thank me, thank me. And I was like, man, don't thank me, man. Thank my boy Steve. Thank God, man, just for putting me in that position. But it was just like, just to know that that's what we do it for, That's what we do it for, because that kid's gonna remember that for the rest of his life, So just knowing that, and then, like I said, it goes back to who I was as a kid growing up, and it's like just knowing that, we didn't have things like that. We didn't have things like that. So it's just being fortunate to be able to let, what I'm saying? Because, I mean, let's be for real, a lot of the neighborhood is succumbed by poverty. And so a lot of these kids, they don't get the opportunity. So I'm just like, man, let me at least do my part. And that's just God's been so good to me. I mean, I got to play my part. I got to play my role, and just let God shine through me.
He really does, because again, once we go through the story a little bit more, that was your real protector. God watched over you in all of those instances, and he's not going to give you a battle that you can't handle. You overcame one of the biggest battles that anybody can face.
Yes, sir.
Again, I'm blessed to sit here with you today, and blessed to be able to, start building with you, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me here, and then just being able to, even tell my story, just maybe change somebody else's mind of the way they move, whatever it is,
Why was it so important for you to highlight the Puerto Rican culture and Puerto Rican food the way that you have, right? You're putting your own spin on it. You're making traditional dishes. Like, this is a real ode to the Puerto Rican culture.
That's my roots. So it's just like, a lot of these things is like, I remember just being as a kid and my parents fucking listening to fucking Frankie Rui or Jerry Rivera while they cook, you know what I'm saying? Cleaning the house and shit. And that's just like, man, that's what I'm rooted in. So it's just like, not only that, it's just like, I came up with like the spinning the Puerto Rican food, just sitting there watching some white girls talk. With all honesty, just watching some white girls talk for real, because they were talking about Chipotle, and I was watching them just talk about Chipotle. How, yeah, this is Mexican food, and you know what I'm saying, which is, it's cool. But I'm just like, me being Latino, I know that it's fucking Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's Mexican food, but it's just like, they put the white spin to it. So just looking at that, and I was like, man, why they can't be sitting there looking at our cuisine, Puerto Rican, our Puerto Rican cuisine, like. You barely catch that. So it's just like, let's put a spin on it, and kind of like make it comfortable for people to try it out. So that's where I started getting from my ideas, and I just started growing from that. And then like my Tamafongo was my first little thing, and that came out of just watching somebody else do it, do not that, but they did like a burrito, and it was just fucking huge and dry, and it went from there and grew from there.
Well, that damn near also came from the fact that it was a necessity at the time too.
Who you telling, bro? Who you telling? It was COVID. It was COVID time. So it was make a break. It was like, man, it was like, I didn't want to go to the streets back. I really didn't, like, because I mean, I had just came home not too long from that, and I was really trying to do the right thing, but I was, I was still bouncing back and forth. I had my foot on the street, foot in, what I'm saying, trying to, I was even though I was trying to do right, circumstances was making me like dib and dab, and and then basically like just not wanting to do that, and I had an episode with my son, my oldest son, where he almost passed away, and man, I I remember just sitting in the parking lot of that hospital, what I'm saying, praying to God that my son makes it through there because he was in a respiratory and all that, and just asking God and just feeling so much guilt in me because even though what I prayed for and God got me out of it from under it, and just feeling like, man, I'm still dipping and dabbing. I'm not giving God exactly what He deserves, and what I'm saying, like what I had said I was going to do, and just praying to God that, man, get my son out of this, that I won't go back to that. I won't go back to trying to make that fast money. And He got my son, by the grace of God, He got my son out of there, and that was just like, that was my point where I was just like, ain't no return. I'm not going back to that. So just that, and I'm just wanting to stick through it. And like you said, hard time, necessity, where it's just like, man, I couldn't go back to that where I knew how to do. I was good at it. So it was just like I couldn't go back to that. So it was just like, okay, let me find something that's legal and I can make happen. So it was just there.
COVID was a weird time for everybody, right? Because, like you say, you're coming home. The one thing that you've always known landed you in very hot water. And you go back and you get caught up again, and it's like, you're probably not coming back home.
It's not really more of that because it's like, honestly, like I was coming in and out of prison, so it was just like I kind of became used to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, which is fucking sad to say, but it was just the back and forth. You became used to it, but it's like the not wanting to. You start growing up and you don't ever want to put your family back through that again.
In what way did you see it impact your family while you were in that position?
Man, it was bad. Like it was a lot of things was man. It was just like my kids was hurting. My kids was growing up without me. You know what I'm saying? It's even now, but I'm fortunate enough, but I had to mend a lot of relationships with my own kids, you know, because my kids was feeling the type of way, and is I understand, I understand it, and it was just feeling that, and my mom went through 2 surgeries while I was like incarcerated. My last bid, man, lost her house, you know what I'm saying, just because I wasn't there to be able to provide for her, and help her out to get things. So it was a bad impact, it was my wife just going through a hard time out here, without me, and it was just like, and you feel helpless because you can't really do nothing, you're in jail, you can't do nothing, so it's just, I seen it, I seen a lot, and how it impacted my family like a lot. So it's just like, just not wanting to see my kids grow up again, because like my oldest son, I came home, my oldest son was damn near grown already, so it was just like, it was crazy, and just seeing that, and it's just like, even to this day, them talking about some certain memories that I have no recollection of because I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, just not being part of that. So
Where was it you found yourself mentally during those times?
any person that did some real time in jail knows that you go through it all. Like, man, emotionally you go through it all. Like, you go through suicidal attacks. You go, man, things that you wake up one morning, you feel like, man, let me jump off this balcony. You know what I'm saying? Let me just walk by here, choke myself. Because you go through things like that. Just mentally, you got to be very strong, especially like especially you dealing with people that are mentally unstable in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like not stooping to their level too. Because you got a lot of ignorant people that just they feel like they're never coming home. So it's just like you knowing better to be like, man, like, let me just not even deal with that.
We jumped all the way into it, but we didn't even talk about how you get here, right? What was it the streets provided for you that made you keep going back initially?
And I was broke. I did. I was just, I was broke. I didn't have no money. Like my dad took care of us, but it was just like, kids want the you want the flyest thing, you want the new things, and you can't afford them. So it's just like not only that, it's seeing my dad have a stroke, and he was the only provider for our home, and him not being able to provide like he used to, and just wanting, knowing, seeing it. You're grown enough, you start being old enough to know that your parents are struggling. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like seeing that and wanting more. And like I said, you just see all the hustlers. You know what I'm saying? Making the money. So it's just like, hey, should come to that. So that was my first initial to it. But like what kept me there was like the sense of brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Which like it was the brotherhood, because it was just like just being feeling like feeling part of something. You know what I'm saying? Something part of something, because it was just like we didn't have too much, so it was just like being part of something is just like what kept me in there. And not only that, it's just like a lot of like I say a lot of the drug dealers is like you become more of an addict than the addicts you serving, because you addicted to the money. You really addicted to the money. You can't move. You can't really move without the hustle. See what I'm saying? Like you so used to a fast pace of getting money that you blowing through it. You know what I'm saying? You spending like it. So it's like you ain't got no other choice but to keep coming to it. So that was, and that's realistic. Like you're more addicted to the money than the addicts are addicted to the drugs.
Addictions, they stem from anything that makes you feel good, right? Because that person that makes you feel good, that drug that makes you feel good, that money that makes you feel good, like you become dependent on that. And even though you understand, like, this is probably making me a worse person, I still want it.
You don't care. You don't give a fuck.
I was thinking about it today and I'm like, a lot of the times we look at our flaws and our bad habits as small parts of us. We think that it's the small part of us. It's not our total personality. It's not everything I am. So that doesn't make me a bad person. And then those small bad habits start to corrupt the good parts of you. And as it continues to corrupt you, you're like, well, fuck. You're like, damn, am I a bad person? And at what point did I become like this? At what point did I get so bad that now everybody around me sees it, but I still don't?
That's why I say jail. The last time, jail saved my life, because I reached my lowest point in life. My lowest point in life where I needed to reach. I needed to reach because I needed to look at myself in the mirror and understand that I was the problem. Like I was the piece of shit. But I've always made excuses. Like when I was still in the streets and doing all of this and doing all that, and you know what I'm saying, being this and being that and being the bad dad and being all of that. I always made excuses for it, because it never wanted to be me. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I had to reach that point where I was like, I had to look myself in the mirror and face it. Like, you are the problem. Because until I realized that I was the problem, I couldn't change.
Do you remember the moment that showed you that?
It was almost like a series of like a week or like a month, because it was just like right when I got myself, like I started reading the scripture a lot, and I was really like brave praying. Like, that one of my sellers used to say that, brave pray. Brave praying meaning like ask God for things that you scared to know the answer to. You know what I'm saying? And that was like brave praying for me, where I was like, man, reveal, open and reveal, let me see it. You know what I'm saying? Because I really wanted to see it. So that was my brave praying. And that was like, a period of that time. That's when God was just starting to reveal. Like I was doing shit, and like immediately feeling the conviction of, damn, that was some bitch ass shit you did. You know what I'm saying? That was some bogus ass shit you did, or something like that. It's just, you would start getting the conviction. So it was just like it was almost like a period of that time where I was just like, and it was like, and that was, I still remember, that was, like I tell you, he isolates to get you right, because that was the time that I was in the hole, and doing that, I was by myself. So it's just like, that's a lot of reflecting by yourself. I did some time in the hole, a lot of time in the hole. So it's just like, I had a lot of time to reflect, So it was just like, man, like, that time, he used that time to really like, man, smack you across the head, like, man, look, man, check it out. Open your eyes.
But why is it you say you were the problem? What were you doing?
Cause I was the problem. Like I was still continuing to do the same shit and expecting different results. Like I was fucking insane, dude. Like for real. Like that's realistic. Like now, like I was doing the same shit. Like I was putting myself in them same situations. Like I was gangbanging, associating myself with people that I shouldn't be around. You know that they were doing. Cause a lot of this shit. The crazy part about it is like people that know me, they know me. They know me that most of the times I did some bids, it wasn't even me. I just didn't say nothing, you know what I'm saying? I just kept it a buck, you know? And it was like, but at the same time, it's like, even when I went to jail, like, that was one of the things that I had to really, like, come across, because I was just like, I didn't even do this shit, you know what I'm saying? I ain't do this shit, but I'm here. But I had to realize, like, shit, how much shit you got away with, you know what I'm saying? Shit, same, you know what I'm saying? I got away with a lot of shit, you know? So it was just like, you know, it was just, you know, I was accepting it, and I accepted it, you know, if I fuck it, you know, it is what it is. And, but shit, really, that's just me being the person that I was just like not a good person, because it's like even sometimes like you know you be sitting talking shooting the shit with old friends, and you know they'll start saying some shit, you know they'll start saying some stories and all that, and then you look back, you listen to the stories, and you be like, damn, that was, you know, you embarrassed and shit, you like, damn, you know,
Like, damn, I was an asshole.
damn, I was a dick, you know, man, my bad. Yeah, how you doing with the cursing? Good.
I don't give a fuck. That shit don't matter to me.
Just understanding and realizing, like, you know, that it ain't nobody else's fault, because the crazy part about it is like it's a proven fact, you know, is you know, I stopped doing the shit I was doing, and I'm, you know what I'm saying, the whole 360, like a whole change, you know what I'm saying? I stopped doing what I was doing. So it was like I know I was the problem. You know, I was the problem because, you know, other people were around, but I was facilitating it. I was there. I was, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, you know, like that, I'm grown now. You got to really, you got to accept, like, look, you know better.
You gotta accept your flaws.
Yeah, accept your flaws, and honestly, like, take a spin on them, like, you know, because even my flaws is like I said, like my spots. I turn myself into mancha just to stop the people from really, like, you know what I'm saying, riding me and talking, you know, because you know how high school was, the riding. So it's the same way. Like I took my hustle and I just turned it up into a business where it was just like, you know, I knew how to do this from that. You know, I'm self-taught through all of this because, you know, I've met, God brought the right people around the way, but it was just like, you know, I kind of already had the scenario of how to do it, you know, just because it was just like I took what I was good in the streets doing and then I turned it into a business. Into food and, you know, whipped it up, you know. I used to whip it up something different else. So I whip it up now.
You started serving different food.
You know, different food. You know how that goes, right?
But man, and that brave praying, right? We're asking God to reveal stuff to you that you're afraid to face. You don't want to accept that this was the reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've been talking about this a lot. I hit a point last year where I just was like, damn, do I really still want to be this person that I've portrayed myself to be for so long? And I just accepted it. You know, at no point, I wanted to change a handful of times, but I was like, you know, fuck it. Like, it is what it is. Like, how often do people change?
That was my reality. The same shit. Like when it came down to changing, and I know exactly how you feel because I know what you're saying, because it was like, it was the norm for me. That was normal. You see what I'm saying? But like you say, like when God started opening and revealing, you started seeing, like, I didn't come from that, dude. Like, what are you doing that? And who taught you how to do that? You see what I'm saying? Who taught you how to do that shit? So it's just like, just that's not the norm. So it's just like, we turn ourselves, like you were saying, like, basically, like, you know, we almost lie to ourselves to make ourselves feel better about the shit that we're doing.
Once you do take that step to change, once you do start moving in that path and that purpose, everything just opens up.
Everything opens up, but you could also come through the trial. Because I went through that trial, and sometimes I'm still kind of going back and forth with it. Because it's like, you know, the devil has a great way to fucking do shit. Like, you know, he has a great way of testing you as far as like when you start moving into that path, you know, you got people, you know what I'm saying? People bringing bochinche, bringing bullshit to you, you know what I'm saying?
People will say it's the devil, but I think it's God. God's still placing things in your life that he knows will tempt you. And he's testing you. He's saying, do you still want this? Or do you really want what you told me you wanted? Because I'm here trying to change your life, but I can't give you what you're asking for if this is still what you desire.
Is it that important for you to you know what I'm saying, for you to prove your point and shit like that? So yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right, dog. It's funny. I'm laughing because it's just like even right now, there's some things going on that is just like I walked away from. You know, when I really everything in me wanted me to hate, man. Let me react and let me let somebody know like this ain't that, but it's just like you're absolutely right. No, because at the end of the day, God shows you again, like when you make that choice, God shows you that you made the right choice.
How often do you feel you struggle with the old qualities
Every
that
day.
you had?
Every day, every day. There's not a day that goes by without I feeling like, because that person's still in you. Like that person is still in you. Like is still in you, and especially like It's funny because I feel like I just chose the best freaking industry to go to for a person that's just not trying to be that no more, because you deal with so many different people, you deal with rude people, you deal with people that just, just they feel like because you're working in an industry or you got a 9 to 5 that you won't get there with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like just being able to be like, man, let me just maintain, let me be calm, cool, and collective. You know what I'm saying? That not only that is like even entrepreneurship, like you say, you battle with that every day because it's like any entrepreneur know that shit. You might have 150,000 in your bank account today. Tomorrow you might be in negative 2,000. It just works that way. You know what I'm saying? It works that way. But it's just like, just going through navigating through your whole business and just knowing that, man, I can go flip a block real quick and be right back. I'll be cool. But it's like, just be like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm here for. That's not why God got me in this position. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta be humble enough to know that I didn't bring myself here, nigga. God got me here, God put me here. So it's just like, you just understanding that and realizing that without God it wouldn't be nothing. So just letting God be God sometimes and understanding that, yeah, we're going through a bad situation right now, but we overcame a whole lot more than that.
But you even also talk about being in an industry where, man, it's a lot of personalities, right? It's not only just within the restaurant, but entertainment. Now you got to deal with a bunch of other people who egos, right? You're dealing with egos every single day, and man, I think the best thing that you can be is an honest person, right? Because we'll use us for an example, and we're not even gonna put the real business out there, but we talk straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like most people don't want to do that. Some people will give you the runaround
They don't
and
want to have the tough conversations.
yeah,
they're
and
tough.
you know how many times I've been told, I'm gonna get you this interview, I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna do that for you, I'm gonna put you in this position. Oh, just throw me on the show.
Yeah, just to get you some up out of you.
For the most part, I like hold off. I'll be like, oh yeah, we'll get to it. Until I'm like, all right, like you've shown enough love, right? Let's run that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you gotta leverage what you do for it, and that's what makes a smart businessman is knowing when and how to leverage.
But again, right, we go back to egos. There is something that we got to deal with every single day, and dealing with personalities is not easy. You grew up in the streets, right? You grew up in a situation where a lot of people have similar mindsets. You talked about that brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's because these are people who think like you. They look like you.
Mm-hmm.
They sound like you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are surrounded by that, you are the company you keep.
Mm-hmm.
So now this person's doing this. All right, I got to get on his level. If I'm not on his level, I got to take that a step further, right? So it's also healthy competition that you've consistently been living in. That comes with the business here and now, and that comes from back then. So again, now you're surrounded by this competition. It's just like back in the day. So that's where those old habits, like, they just kind of revive themselves.
As far as like competition, where I'm at, like, I mean, competition. I love competition. I don't take it personal. Let's get it. Let's get it. That's what we're here for. But at the end of the day, it's like also like coming back to like I could say, I can honestly say that there was definitely competition in Downton. Like it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, for me, I was competing and I started 3 minutes later than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, just because, Puerto Rican food is not something that you normally be like, hey, I'm going to go down there and give me whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I'm already steps behind. But it was just like, man, I took it in stride, and I just came through there and just, I muscled up, and, I'm a hustler. I'm gonna dig it out the mud. So that's what we did. By the grace of God, great team. My team, we dug that out the mud, and we made it into something where it was just like, I looked at it like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Well, like, especially when you started seeing numbers, like, I never would have thought this was there. But for the community I'm in now, like Paseo Boricua, like the Paseo Boricua is just like, I don't see it as competition, because we all sell Puerto Rican food. Like, we all sell Puerto Rican food. It's like, there's enough money in there. And I feel like if you got to compete if you feel like you're competing with me, you're competing by yourself.
I'm talking more so the industry as a whole.
Oh,
right?
the industry as a whole?
About the industry as a whole.
Where I'm at, my bad.
Where you're at, I mean, it's all love, right? Because you got Smash Jibarito down the
my
street.
people, Josian, that's my dog, man. And it's like, even it's crazy, because, some people, they try to make rumors. I never feed into that. Why? Because it's like, if it ain't directed, I don't really, it ain't. If it ain't directed, then I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my thing, is like, some people try to make things up and expect people to fall for it. But I'm just not like that. I know people personally, so it's just like, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on that. So, but as far as like the industry, yeah, it's a competition, and I like it. Like, that's what we're here for. Like, it is what it is. And it's like, it ain't let the best man win, but it's like, I mean, let's get it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, it's the food industry. So it's just like, we all can make some money. All can make some money. So it's really like, we can compete. We can compete to see who's gonna make some more. But I don't want to compete to where it's like, oh, you're gonna go out of business. No, man. Shit, let's compete. Let's see who's gonna make some more, and then let's talk some shit later. Simple as that. Let's talk some shit later.
Play some dominoes.
Yeah, play some dominoes, some spades. See, I'm Puerto Rican, but I like spades, dude. I think that's just my jail. I like spades, man, bro. That's how I made a living, on spades in jail, man.
Jail off spades?
Off spades, we made a living, man. Yeah, you better ask Gio.
Honestly,
man.
bro, I don't really know how you could be bad at spades. That's the thing. Like,
you can be bad at spades, man. Hell no.
I feel like you gotta not understand the game to be bad at spades, because the way that people be talking, bro, like.
No, but it's just like, man, it's honestly, it's a finesse. Like, it's just because you can have a bad hand and still have.
Yeah, you could win. You could win with a bad hand.
That's the same thing in life.
I like that one.
Same thing in life, dog. Same thing in life, bro. I had a bad hand. We had to turn it around, man. We had to, let's play, let's play smart.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand how you could be bad at spades, because there's people that be talking trash and they're like, I'm gonna whoop you in spades. I'm like, bro, it's not that hard to win.
If you got a bum ass partner, man, you pop, bro.
But again, right, these habits that we develop over time, they shine through. Even once we feel like we left them behind, it's because we developed them in a system. The system you grew up in is a little bit different from the system I grew up in, but sometimes those results end up the same, right? For me, I was given the blueprint of school, and that's what my life looked like up until I finished college, and then I had to figure it out in the real world. For you, you were given the blueprint of the streets, not from your family, but from the people around you.
My environment.
Your blueprint showed you that your life would end up either dead or in jail. And eventually, once you get to a certain point, you got to figure it out in corporate America, real life.
Real life, bro.
At what point was it you realized there had to be more to life?
In Stateville, I was doing my stint. I was doing my parole time. My last case, and that's when really like reality started setting in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I had got locked up, but I was dressed in, dressed out. So it wasn't really like I ain't seen the joint. I was just, I was going in and out of jail, in and out of county, and like the bad thing was, well, I want to say like the worst thing that happened to me was I had money, so I was able to always bond out, come out. So it was just like, it always made me a better criminal. Honestly, going in, making a better criminal. So it's just like, just being able to sit down and then having to go through the parole time, and you in NRC, and then from NRC they put you in a bird cage, behind the wall, and just actually seeing like, man, actualizing to seeing like them. This is where my future is gonna be at. You know, I'm gonna die in there. You know, type. So it's just like seeing that. That's what really like just started like. It's got to be something more than this. It's got to be something more than this. You know, it's got to be something more than this. That's really, you know, really happened. Like honestly, it's got to be something because it was just like the streets will swallow you in. Where it's just like it almost brainwashes you into feeling like that's all you're worth. That's all you can ever accomplish. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my biggest accomplishments back then was, hey, you know, just being able to be 19 on 24s with an old school, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Being able to have fucking 100,000 put up in cash, you know what I'm saying? That was accomplishments to me, you know what I'm saying? And that was really ain't shit, you know, because 100,000, you blow through that now, you know, in the business world, you know. So it's just like that's it just clicking. That's when it clicked. Like it clicked. Like man, this can't be life. You know what I'm saying? This can't be life. Not even that. It was just like it also comes to like you almost start understanding it in your head, where it's just like you're like, all right, man, I'm flipping these bricks and I'm flipping this and I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing that, and it's like, all right, cool. If I go to jail for about 6-7 years for doing this, and I made 100, 200, 300,000, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I'm hood rich, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, that you almost brainwash yourself to that.
Even when you had all of that, did it make you as happy as you thought it would?
Hell no, bro. Like I sleep good. I sleep good now. Dude, I sleep good. Dog, I sleep good. Hell no. I'm gonna tell you straight up, that shit is not it, bro. Like, hell, like, you know, you had all that money, but you was fucking paranoid at every shit. My wife knows shit used to be coming out the window looking every fucking 2 hours, 3 hours, because you think you finna get smacked or you gonna whatever. Like it was crazy. And then it's like, you know, coming in from a night out or, you know, something that you done did or whatever, and then just coming to the crib, you know, with just you always was thinking of everything that you even now, like that, I feel like that's the price you pay. That's the price you pay. Just the dreams that haunt you, like, you know what I'm saying, all of that, you know what I'm saying, that really fucks with you at night, that really fucks with your happiness sometimes. Because even now, you know what I'm saying, like I'll be good, and then it just certain shit kind of triggers you that to make you relive certain memories and you know what I'm saying, certain things that eat and take away from your happiness.
Would you say it's mainly things that you had done or things that you had lost along the way?
A little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of both. Like, you know, it was you know, 'cause like I said, in the streets is you gonna lose and you gonna win. You're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna do some things that you ain't gonna, you know, you ain't gonna be proud of. At a certain stage in life, when you become older and wiser, you ain't gonna respect yourself for doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that eats at you sometimes.
So then what was it that you had gotten locked up for at that time, that final time?
My last bit, I caught a murder.
How the fuck you beat a murder?
By the grace of God, man, I ain't do it. Shit, I ain't do it, man. I ain't do that shit, bro. But no, I mean, I was, man, and it's like, God has a funny way of humbling you, really, really. Like, you know, I caught a murder that Lord knows I ain't do it. You know, I ain't do it. I ain't had nothing to do with it at all. Like the streets know, like I ain't had nothing to do with it. It just, you know, they got me involved in it because I had beaten certain other cases, and they knew that I was you know, I was wild child, part of a lot of shit that was going on, you know. So it was just their way of tying me up, and it's just, you know, even the case was crazy because before I got locked up, I had a whole lot of money, but I found myself fighting a murder, a 9-1 with a public defender for the first
Oh my God.
for the first like 4 or 5 months. Why? Because I was under the illusion. Honestly, it was crazy because I was under the illusion that I was gonna be able to bond out. I was under the illusion of that. Don't ask me why, but
Didn't they give you a $750,000?
They gave me a
bond?
$750,000 bond, but then you have a $750,000 bond and a no bond. I was already on parole for something, so they gave me a no bond and a $750,000 bond. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I couldn't bond out even if I had the $75,000 to walk out.
But they gave you the no bond for the parole.
For the parole. So with a parole hold, you can't leave.
But didn't you finish your parole?
I finished my parole. When I came back to the county for that, you know, you got to do another bond hearing. So when they did the bond hearing, they took that away from me. So I ain't had no bond no more. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like it was a $750,000, which was $75,000 walk, which was honestly it was attainable at the moment when I first got in. It was attainable. Mind you, I had to do like 6-7 months in parole. So mind you, my wife got to live, my kids got to live. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that ain't that no more. You know what I'm saying? So by the time you come back, it's nothing. You know, you don't even have the whole thing. So it's just like I was fighting with a PD. Why? Because I didn't want to pay no lawyer. I'm like, fuck that. I'm finna bond out when I come out. But it just didn't work that way. So you know what I'm saying? And I'm almost glad that it didn't work that way. I'm honestly, now that who I am today, I'm thank God that I didn't work that way, because I knew that wasn't gonna do nothing but fucking build my fucking ego so much more, that I was gonna, that shit wasn't gonna be good for myself, So it's like when I came back, they took that away, and then it was too late for me to get a lawyer, because now it's just like money had to go here, money had to go there. It wasn't really there.
So you fought it with the public defender?
No, I didn't fight with the public defender. Hell no. But I had a public defender for about, I want to say like 7, 8. No, not even, about damn near like 8 months. 8 months of fighting the case, of when I caught the case, like 8 months into it, and that was another humbling experience, because it was just like, you know what I'm saying? Just feeling like you got it, and you outside, and you know what I'm saying, you in the streets, and yeah, you know what I'm saying, you could do this, you could do that, and just to find yourself in a place where it's like, damn, I can't even afford a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I can't even afford a fucking lawyer, So it's just like, finally, that was a humbling experience, but it was just like, I had a little bit of money still left, and it was like my girl was holding on to it, and she was still taking care of bills, but by the grace of God, she was able to, she had a job, so she was able to just hold it, put it to the side, and wait for me. So I found myself in the old man's deck, and I found my lawyer like that. My lawyer that actually beat the case. Which I found my lawyer, and it was crazy, because
What the fuck's an old man's deck?
old man's deck is like, everybody is fucking older than 40, 50. And the crazy part about it, was just I had some juice when I got to 9. So, they knew who I was from the streets and all that shit a little bit. I had whatever. So they knew, like, man, this nigga's just trying to chill, So I went to the hole. I got jammed up in 1. I was in Division 1. I got jammed up in 1. I got into it with a lieutenant and all that shit. They shot me down to ABO, and then they put me in the hole. So I was in the hole for about damn near a month. So when I got out the hole, one of the COs that kind of knew me, he was upstairs actually putting they start, once you come out the hole, they put you on different decks. So they put you in a holding cell. So when they put me in a holding cell, dude was cool, and he knew me. He was like, man, Silva, like, he's, what you got yourself into? I'm like, man, I'm just trying to chill. And he's like, man, look, I got a spot at the old man's deck. He's like, I'm not even supposed to be up there, but he's like, I got a spot up there for you. He's like, man, you gonna chill? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. He's like, all right, that's all I want to do. Because honestly, it's like, I found myself being the old motherfucker in jail. That's also another big ass thing. Like, everybody was fucking 19 and 18. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hell no. I was like 27, 20, not even 20. I don't think I was like 28.
This was in county?
In the county when I came back, because I already had came back. I got myself jammed up and I went to the hole. And then I found myself.
Oh, because they can't send you to prison until you're convicted, right?
So no, but I was paroled. So when I got there first, I was on parole. So I sat in the county for like maybe, not even a month, like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half. And then they shot me to Stateville.
They sent you back to county after you finished the parole.
After you finish the parole, you got to go back and fight your case.
Because they can't send you unless you get convicted.
Yeah, it's because I'm still an innocent man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had finished one conviction. I'm going back to the county to fight the body that I'm fighting. So my 9-1. So I'm in the county. So when I'm in the county, they sent me to a writ deck. I was there for a little bit, and then I went on deck with my rappy. I went to the deck with a couple of guys from the neighborhood. So I just found myself into some bullshit. I got myself into some bullshit. Got into it with some lieutenants and shit. Fight and all that stuff. They sent me to the hole in 9. So I'm in Division 9 now. I'm in there, and I came from the hole, and one of the guys, one of the COs, seen me that knew me, and he was just like, man, look, you gonna stay out of trouble. I'm gonna send you to the old man deck, because the old man deck is like, it's sweet. It's like sweet. It's like only old motherfuckers are up there. And it's like, people don't want to fight. None of this. It's a bunch of old timers. So that was my style where I'm at. Where I'm like, man, because mind you, I just come from the Ville. My mind was already kind of made up of who I was turning into be. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, I'm more humble.
So how do you find the lawyer through this?
Once I get to the old man deck, bro, there's a dude, it's crazy because there's a Mexican dude, a Mexican old man, bro. He's fighting fucking like 4 bodies, bro. It was crazy, bro. He was fighting like 4 bodies, bro. He was fighting like 4 bodies. Some cartel shit, bro. He was fighting some shit. He was fighting some drama. And he was just, we was talking. He was like, yeah, my lawyer's real good. And I was just like, man, I'm looking for a lawyer. I need a lawyer, bro. But it's just like, because mind you, at that time, for a lawyer to fight a body, they want a down payment of $15,000, $16,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, I think I got maybe like $8,000, $9,000 to my name at that point. You know what I'm saying? For me to be able to do something. So it's just like,
I feel like that's kind of cheap to fight a body. I'm not gonna lie.
no, but no, they won't. That's just to put it on to down payment. You got to pay him 40 bands at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I got on the phone with dude, and I got on the phone with the lawyer, Mike Fulton. Big shout out to Mike Fulton. I'm always gonna shout that man out, bro. That was my my lawyer, and he ended up picking up the phone, and he was talking to me, and I was like, man, look, man. He was like, I'm gonna go see you. So he came see me. I let him know what it was, and he was like, look, if it's as simple as you say it is. Which, you know, I had broke it down to him. So like, if it's simple as you say it is, I'll take it. Give me $9,000. You know, $9,000. And I was like, all right, bet. You know, mind you, I go back, call my girl, and I'm like, man, you know, she's like, it's not $9,000 no more. It's like 75. So I'm like, damn, you know. So now I'm like, I had to call him back, and he's like, he still take it. He's like, man, I'll take the 75 and just give me big payments. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I just know that was a blessing, where it's like, man, God gave me that, and it was crazy because I fought it for 3.5 years there with him, and it was wild because I had demanded for trial. I got 2 rappies on my case. I got 2 rappies, 2 other co-defendants with me. So nobody demanded for trial. I demanded for trial. You know what I'm saying? But my rappies knew that I was demanding for trial, so I'm pushing. So I pushed for trial on. Now you got 120 days to go to trial when you demand trial. So when I demand trial on my like 100 and now I'm supposed to go to trial. We're all supposed to go to trial at like it's like the 118th day. I go to court. We go to court, bro. These people they knew they didn't have a case on me, so it's a loophole that they have that if they let you out on bond, they get another like 40 days or 40 or 60 days. I might be wrong on it. I'm not 100% sure with it, but I know you get more days than the 120 because you have to do that when you're in custody. Like that's how many days you got to go to trial. But for them to leave you out, if you're out on bond, you get more days to go to trial. So we go there, and I'm not thinking none of it. I'm like, all right, we're going to trial. So I see they're not set up. My lawyer comes back there like, man, I might pull a rabbit out of the hat. What you mean? He didn't want to say nothing. I might pull a rabbit out of the hat. I said, all right, whatever. Boom, he goes back there. Dude, these people gave me an eye bond. And you ever heard somebody get an eye bond for a body? I got an eye bond, free. I got a right out of jail out of that day. I got an eye bond because they wanted to prolong it. So that's the way to, because they were asking my lawyer, like, do you want to drop like the man's speedy trial? My lawyer don't want to. He's like, nope, we're going to trial, or if not, you got to let my client leave. So that was their loophole. They gave me a eye bond. They let me leave. They bought themselves more time. And then, you know what I'm saying? But my rappies were still locked up because they didn't never demand the trial. So they bought themselves some time for that. So I was able to come out, and I was still fighting my body. So it was just like, even when I came home, that's what I'm telling you, like, it was a hard time for me because I'm still bouncing back and forth because it's just like, I'm outside. Yes, I'm home, but I'm still fighting fucking 45 to life. That I'm like, I don't know if I'm.
You don't know if they're gonna say you did it, even though you
back up, even though I didn't have nothing to do with it, because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, even though they know I didn't do it, and my lawyer ate them up because, you know, they were bullshitting. Honestly, I had a dude sit on the statement, and I'm not gonna name his name, but I mean, I had a dude sit there and said I did it, point me out. You know what I'm saying? And then my lawyer ate him up because he was bullshitting. That was the whole point. Like, you know, I knew he was bullshitting. The whole fucking neighborhood knew he was bullshitting. But it was he definitely sat on the stand and said, me, I did it. You know what I'm saying? I did this and I did that. You know what I'm saying? And he did that, and my lawyer ate him up because it was all bullshit what he was saying.
That was one of your dudes?
Man, it was somebody from the neighborhood. Let's just say that. Let's put it as that, where it was just like it made it even 10 times harder. It made it even 10 times harder for the case I was fighting, and for the people that know, it just made it 10 times harder for the case I was fighting, meaning that even jail was harder for us. Like, as far as for me and my rappers, it was harder for us. You know what I'm saying? And the people that know, they know. They know it was hard for us. You really had to stand up. Like, you had to know how to fight. You had to get there.
That was because they cut a deal?
No, it was some street politics shit that was going on, that it was like, that it just made it harder for us on top of that. But not only that is like they were lying just to really like just because they really wanted it. They really wanted me part of the shit that really they knew I didn't have no part of. But they really wanted me part of that. Like they really wanted me part of that. And it's just like we tried the game behind it.
Damn, see, I didn't know that the story went that deep.
Yeah, it goes deep, dog. It goes even deeper, but we can't do that on camera, dog.
For you, why did you feel like the streets were the only way out initially?
Like when I was younger, was more of a, like you say, like it's a snowball effect, dude. Like, I came in at one point where I'm like, just trying to make some money, do this, and I know this is part of the streets, so it's just like you got street politics. You can't do this without that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it was just a snowball effect. Like it went from there. I started at that point, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is just to be that minimal. We're just gonna make some money, and it just kept going. It just kept going, kept escalating, kept getting bigger. At the end part where I came home and I'm bouncing back and forth from the streets, first was uncertainty. Like I didn't know what it was. Like, I was just trying to my main objective was when I came home was just like, and that's with our reality. Like I didn't know I always prepare for the worst. Like just plain and simple, it's just me. And I was just preparing myself to go back to prison, to doing maybe, I don't know what it is, but he was my mind is like, okay, I got to make a lot of money to make sure my family's straight. And not only that, it's like shit. It just if shit starts going bad, I'm going on the run. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's realistic. Like, that was my way of thinking at that point. Just because come on, like, how else am I supposed to think? Like, I'm just gonna let y'all give me fucking life for 45 years? You crazy? Y'all gotta earn this. To be honest with you, that's realistic.
Y'all gotta catch me.
Y'all gotta earn this. So it's just like, man, my way of I'm already trying to set myself up to, all right, cool. Shit starts going bad. I'm going this way. I'm going that way. And making sure my family's straight. So that was one of the reasons why I was in and out. Yeah, one of the main reasons why I was in and out of the streets.
So what was the part of David you needed to heal before you were able to finally change?
The unwanted. I had times in my life, like as a young man, where I felt like unwanted, like I wasn't part, like I didn't belong anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So that part had to heal for me. Like that part, the part of at the stage in life, I felt like the part of the not mourning my dad. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like I was so caught up in the moment that I never really took my time to mourn for my dad, and it was just like, and more of it, like I was shying away from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just as the same man that taught me how to be like, men don't cry. Kid, that's how we grow up. My dad told me men don't cry. So it's just like, it's just at that point, like I needed to cry. I needed that. I needed to be able to like cope with that and just accept the fact of who I was becoming and who I was and who my dad had raised and just accepting the circumstance that God had put in my life.
Take it back a step, right? Why was it you felt so unwanted?
I didn't feel like I fit anywhere. Like I mean, people that know me that I didn't get popular and I wasn't this person that that I'm still kind of not that, because if I don't really kind of know you, I'd rather just stay to myself. I'm real like reserved to myself. So, but I never was that popular kid, that kid that and well, in high school I was like a little bit towards the end, but like my grammar school days and all of that stuff, like I was always to myself. Like I was just because I felt like the unwanted, like I just didn't belong to nothing, So it was just like that was more of just finding myself or who I really was, and just like as a young kid, you don't really, you always want to be somebody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? That makes any sense. Like, you always want to be somebody else. And it's just not being able to really accept who you actually are and just accept it and turn that person into who you want it to be.
It's almost an insecurity, right? Because there's an insecurity within yourself and you want to be the best version you could be. You want everybody to like you. And with time comes those lessons of sometimes you just got to be you. And that's enough for the right people.
when I had to heal was the healing part was understanding that I ain't everybody's cup of tea. I don't need anybody to like me. And that's when I started really loving myself for who I am. You know what I'm saying? Because I really didn't love myself, like you say, like insecurities. Like, dude, I grew up with, I didn't have spots all my life. You know, I got spots I was fucking freshman going on a sophomore. So it was just like, it was real vital time of your life. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, and it was like, shit, kids can be fucking mean, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what turned me into a funny dude. Like, people that know me, they know I could talk shit for hours, you know? But that was that. Because that was my self-defense. I had to, people used to talk shit all day, so I had to talk shit back. I had to learn how to be funny and do all that, you know? But it was just dealing with that, which is you wanted people to accept you, and you were tiptoeing around people's, feelings because you wanted them to like you and all that shit. And it was just like, when I really started accepting myself and embracing myself and loving myself, like, man, I'm cool, I'm okay, you know what I'm saying? And that's what really like sparked the person that I am today. Because even Lord knows, like, a lot of people see me that knew me from a kid, like, we would have never thought you would have been, over here doing commercials and doing a podcast and doing all that. But it was just like I couldn't back then because I didn't love myself. I didn't accept myself. And that's what I kind of like try to show these kids, like, you know what I'm saying? And Lord knows, just like, I'm just trying to shine God's light through me. And that's really where I'm at, where, like, he brings these thoughts to me where it's just like, I want these kids that feel insecure to know that, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm a cool dude. I got a bunch of spots. You know what I'm saying? I made that. I put a bunch of tattoos that I started, be me, So that's really where I'm just trying to give to the world. Like, I'm just trying to give that to the world, where it's just like, I'm just trying to give these kids from my community the charisma to be them. You know what I'm saying? To be them. It don't matter how you look. It don't matter, you know what I'm saying, how funny you look. Don't worry about it. You'll grow into it. You know what I'm saying? I had a big ass head when I was a kid. I grew into it. Look at me. I still got a big ass head. Don't get me wrong with shit.
At the George Lopez.
I'm all right now. Shit, I'm all right.
But I relate to a lot of what you say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with my homies. When I was younger, they would, bro.
Right. Days, bro. Days.
Hey, pause. But it was just I'm very like chill. I'm chill off camera. On camera, that shit just different, bro. You see me at that tailgate, I don't even know who that person was. You know what I'm saying?
Boy.
But I was a completely different person, and I think even back then, there was always this part of me that nobody really saw, nobody really understood. I always loved singing, I always loved music, but it was always, kids saying shit. So it's like, damn, nah, I can't be me. It wasn't until I really adopted that sad boy moniker, until I adopted the fact that, like, damn, yeah, I be listening to sad ass music, but these girls still think I'm a fuck boy because I listen to this sad ass music, and they think I'm sad because I'm a fuck boy. Like, it just became a whole lot of different perceptions about me that I adopted, and I'm like, fuck it. If this is who you think I am, this is who I am.
That's just part of growing up, I feel like, because it's just like accepting who you really are. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, fuck who don't like it. You don't like it? Cool. Sit right there, And it's just like, so what? You want to sing? Sing, bro. Go ahead, bro. I'll be singing. I sing in the shower, dog. I can't sing too good, but I can sing, But it's like that. Like, just being able to, like, like a lot of people be like, man, you got that charisma to it. I've always had it. I just never really know how to apply it to something. I would just always had a whole bunch of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think it's so important for you to drop these lessons and provide a blueprint that was different from what you got for this new generation? Because you talk about the fact that the podcast is because you want to prevent people from making the same mistakes you did almost.
I feel like, man, let me be the mistake that you don't gotta make. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I've always been like that. Like, and my family knows that. Like, my family knows, they know for sure, like, that I'm always like the sacrificial lamb. Like, I'm always willing to take the sacrifice for my family. Like, that's just the person I am. And it's just like, I had a celly one time tell me something that I always remember for the rest of my life. Is like, man, it was some dudes that we were on deck, and he was they were being petty to me, and I wanted to be some petty shit. I wanted to do some petty shit with him. And my celly was older, wiser. You know what I'm saying? He was like, dude, don't change the person who you are because people are who they are towards you. That's who they're supposed to be. You do who you were supposed to be. And that'll always like stick to me because that's something that like I model my life to kind of to what it is, where it's just like even when I'm having those thoughts or those temptations to stoop to people's level, it's just like I always be like, nah. I always kind of refer to that. No, just be you. That's why you blessed. That's why you who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's why you are you. You're Mancha, you're David, you own Dope Drip. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? That's who you are. So don't change who you are just to try to prove a point or try to stoop to somebody's level.
What is it you hope to protect your kids from that you went through?
Sometimes as a dad, you want to protect them from the world. You know what I'm saying? But just reality, you can't. So it's just like if I had to say like I had to break it down to something narrow, like I would just want them to protect them from the certain individuals that made me feel like I want them to protect them from people like the people that played in my life where they made me feel like what I was doing was okay. Like encourage the bullshit that I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I would want them to protect them from that. Like I would want them to have somebody that would call them out on their bullshit. Because now in the stage in life that I am and I don't have that many friends, as far as like close friends, but the ones that I have there are fucking quick to fucking be like, dude, you fucking tripping. Or that shit ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's the people I want them around because I had a lot of cheerleaders when I was doing all types of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that just encouraged me to do the bullshit that I was doing. So I hope to protect them from people like that, like that they learn how to differentiate from people like that and just move away from them.
Do you think that you valued the role of a father immediately?
Hell no. I'm obviously I'm not I'm me. I'm real. But I ain't gonna fucking sit here and sugarcoat that shit. Hell no. That shit ain't saying shit. Cause all bullshit aside, like I feel like this last prison bit, this thing is what made me into the father that I am today. I'm a good dad. I'm not the fucking best dad, but I'm a good dad. I'm a real good dad. I'm a stand-up dad. I'm there for my kids. I'm a present dad. Like and when I was in the streets, I felt like money replaced me. Like I was able to just keep dumping monies to my baby mama, to my wives, and just, and here. And when my kids really didn't, I've had these tough ass conversations with my kids where I kind of realized that they didn't want none of that shit I was getting them. None of that shit. Like that shit didn't mean absolutely nothing to them. They just wanted me there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and so for my kids to change my life, nah, that shit did not happen. That shit did not, I'm just being realistic. That shit, like, I was just like, all right, fuck it, I got kids. That's how I went because it was just like, it was like I was so fucking immature and so fucking naive that it was just like, and so fucking irresponsible. Let's just be real. So irresponsible that I was just popping kids here, left, right. Like it was nothing. Like, I got 6 kids, dude. And it's like, I love my kids all to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if I don't regret none of my kids. I just regret the fact of how I had them because I feel like because of my irresponsibility, you know, not all my kids can grow up in a 2-parent home. You see what I'm saying? And that's reality. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I try to really be there as much as I can, but reality is reality. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I take full responsibility for that.
And back then they got a different version of you.
Yeah. And it's like I feel like my older kids, like my oldest son, like, I love my oldest son and I love all my kids. But like my oldest son is like, I feel like he got a version of me that a lot of my kids ain't never seen. Like, because I was a kid raising a kid. I had my oldest son at 16 years old. So it was just like, I was young. So it was just like I did a lot of fucking immature shit, a lot of dumb shit that my son, like, when I came home, he was damn near grown. And it's just like, even now, our relationship kind of like dwindled. Now we got a great relationship. And it was just like, I thank God for that because I prayed on that. And I've actually worked on it. Like, actually worked on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Meticulously try to work on it. Whereas it's like, you know what I'm saying? Had my son working with me, had him spending some time with me. We were, we built on our relationship that we have now today. And I love my son to death. I love all my kids. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like that's something that I know for a fact, like my son got a bad version. Like I feel like my youngest daughter, that's like my heart right now. My baby, Journey, man, is just like she's got the best version she could have ever had because I'm an active father. I'm a good dad. I'm there. I know what it is to actually be there for your kids, not just replace it with money. Like none of that, you know. Where it's just like I said back then, I had a whole lot of money. Now it's like I'm okay. I'm not broke, but I mean at the same time, it's like I live better now. You know what I'm saying? And my kids are 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 well taken care of as far as like emotionally, you know, financially, you know, me being present there to my kids, and I just feel like that's a whole lot bigger for them, like especially like my daughters, my girls. I was blessed with 4 girls, which is a funny way of God just telling me like, look, bro, you gonna pay for what you did, you know. But man, I'm just to be an active dad to them. That's a blessing for me, man.
My dad was always there, but it's weird how I always talk about him when I was growing up because he was always working. So he would come home. He, like I said, he's a carpenter. Back then, he was doing real carpentry. He wasn't doing the easy shit. He was doing the hard shit.
Real shit. Yeah,
So he'd wake up at 6 o'clock and go far ass drive, come home, be home by 4:35. He's so fucking tired, he falls asleep on the floor. You know, there's no real like relationship building. And then I'd spend the weekends with him. So when I talk about him, I'm like, yeah, I was with my dad on the weekend. So it sounds like my parents aren't even
like
together
they're split
for
together.
yeah.
Right.
And no, it's just
And
like
it's-
that's my time that I spent with my dad.
And it's crazy.
And his thing is that when the recession happened, that he took a step back from work at that point because he got laid off initially, and he found that he was just as happy being at home spending time with his family than he was when he was making all the money, and he was still living the same quality of life because what happens when you make more money? You spend more money.
And it's crazy because it's like as an entrepreneur, and I know I ain't the only one I battled that all a lot because it's like you battling with and you asked me that question, so you asked me that question off camera, and that's just I want to reiterate on that because it took me a while to answer you. You know that because it was just like it really was like I really wanted to get the right words because I knew exactly what I was feeling, but I just wanted to put it in words. And then like it's a battle that you as an entrepreneur is a battle because you're doing all this to create wealth and you know give your family a better living, you know, because I don't want to say that I've at this point in my life yet I've really changed my family's trajectory, but I have, like, you know, I have, and I take pride in that because I've changed a lot of situations in my family where it comes down to my mother, to my, you know, my kids, my kids' moms, my wife, all that. I've changed certain situations for them, and I'm proud of that, and I take pride in that. But it's like at the same time, it's like you battle with the man. Even now I'm actually starting to, and that was part of me being like part of my decision making of closing the downtown location. Just why? Because I know I was out. I'm a workaholic. You know I'm up at 4:30. You know I'm out the crib by that time. You know my kids ain't even up yet. You know, and I'm getting back. It's fucking 9:30 by the time I make it back. Sometimes they sleep. You know they sleep already, or if they're not, I have a conversation with them and that's it. You know, so it's just like I'm just battling with just trying to be present in their lives and you know not being that person that I used to be. Even though now I'm I'm in a different path, but it's just like I want to be a present dad. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like battling with that. It's hard because it's like you're actually taking the sacrifice of doing that as a dad, as the man that they need. Because why? Because you know I want to show my daughters what a man is supposed to be in their lives. You know, and just battling with that. Just it's hard, and you know it's hard to really. The balance is hard. It's hard as hell because even I still ain't got it right. You know, but I mean, like you say, like you know, like sometimes you gotta take a step back and be like, man, the money don't even matter. Like let me just not overfill my plate so I can have some times for my kids. You know, so that's a really I battle with it now. You know, I'm still battling with it. You know.
These were the problems we had wished to have one
We
day.
prayed on problems like this. Dog. We prayed on problems like this. So I'm not mad at it. I'm thankful to God of the position I'm in, the the place he got me in, but it's just real life battles that that is just like is a give and take where it's just like you're blessed with certain situations and you're blessed with the problems that you do have, but it's just like damn, you don't want to. I don't ever want to be the dad where it's like, yeah, my kids had it all and they just never had a real relationship with me.
They had it all. They just didn't have me.
They just didn't have me, and it was just like I was a sacrifice of it, but it's just like I ain't got to.
I appreciate you sliding, bro.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
You're a true testament to my past doesn't define me.
At all, man. At all. And it's yet more to come. God got a whole lot more in store for me.
God bless. You got anything you want to plug, bro?
Man, look, man, if y'all in the Humble Park area, man, we at 2617 West Division. That's the Dope Drip Cafe. Also our Dope Talk podcast we've been working on, man. We got a couple hiccups trying to get it together. But yeah, man, we got the Puerto Rican restaurant. Y'all looking for Puerto Rican restaurant right there at 2617 West Division.
Make sure you guys go ahead, check out Dope Drip Cafe. Check out those Jibarito sliders. They're fire. Man, make sure you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.